Welcome to Fifth Dimensional Life, Mass Human Awakening. I'm going to be speaking about my extraterrestrial experiences, and also I'll be going through my past history to give you an idea of my journey. When I was very, very young, I remember seeing different types of lights outside my window, and then I'd have different types of beings and entities. I just thought they were spirits. They were these very colorful, joyous beings that would come in the middle of the night, and they would show me these different light shows, and they would also play music. I could hear the music and symphonies that they had there, and it was just absolutely beautiful, enchanting, so mesmerizing and wonderful in so many ways. And I felt so high vibrational when they were around, and they were so caring and kind. And then when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I had my first interaction with a negative entity, and it was very, very terrifying because I was just a kid. And he basically came in and said, "You better stop what you're doing, or I'm going to kill you and your family." And I was like, "I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm just a kid." But that was so frightening to me. It was so scary. And so at that point, I had very Christian parents. I went to Catholic school. I didn't know anything about energy or different types of entities or dimensions or beings. I just thought this was the devil or a demon. So at that point, I just used the tools that I had, and I called in Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit and God to cleanse me and my home and to keep us safe. And I cut off my abilities at that point. Then, not too much had happened. And then when I was about 17 years old, I had my first heartbreak, and my vibration dipped so low, I started getting these really, really, really intense psychic attacks. Anytime I closed my eyes, there would be this like extremely scary animal, like a bear or a cougar or a wolverine, just with sharp, sharp teeth, sharp claws attacking me. And it was terrifying. And how I figured out not to dream was to drink excessive amounts of alcohol, and then I wouldn't have these dreams. And that worked out well for the nefarious beings that were attacking me, because once the vibration gets so low through alcohol, it's very easy to manipulate that human or that other being. And then I ended up getting into another new relationship, and my vibration climbed up higher, so those attacks stopped. And then I ended up doing some traveling and different things, and had some more kind of dark entities, dark spirits, and different things kind of interacting with me that were very uncomfortable, because I didn't know how to deal with them. I didn't understand that at that time, what they were and what their purpose was, and or how to protect myself. And then I had a near-death experience when I was about 20 or 21, and my whole life flashed before my eyes, and I had this kind of big list in my mind of all the things that I needed to accomplish, and I didn't want to die. And I made a conscious decision at that point. No, I'm going to move forward with my life and my soul contracts. And then I moved a couple times and started college, and then it was a little tumultuous, and I started getting these psychic attacks again. It was terrifying. It was so scary. Um, you know, being scared of closing your eyes and going to sleep is not a fun thing to experience. And fortunately for me, I ended up getting into yoga and lots of different forms of music, and those helped me raise my vibration high enough that those negative entities and beings were not able to attach onto me, possess me, or attack me in any way. So that was a huge godsend. And I'd have a lot of different kind of spirits. Like, I could tell that they were there. I couldn't see them a lot of times, or sometimes I could kind of see like a shadow, and I would be able to feel them out because I had so many psychic attacks. I could tell right away if something was nefarious and dark, or had an evil agenda, or if it was kind of neutral, or if it was confused or angry, or if it was peaceful, or I really got a sense of the emotion, or the what that entity was trying to do. And some of them, while I was on my travels, I helped spirits cross over and different things like that. So I started getting more into it and developing my abilities on that sense much more, which was very helpful, because then I had, built up this awesome discernment of, okay, don't come near me, or, oh, okay, I can help you, this being, I can, go into the light, that, go for it. So that was really, really cool. And I, started doing a little bit of research into how to control different abilities, and watching different TV shows where there's like psychic mediums and things like that, and how they channel and how they direct spirits and negative entities, and where to go. So, and then I had some major life events happen, and a couple kids, couple surgeries, couple just hard things and good things, and it was a lot of ups and downs, and my body was going through a lot of stuff too. I had constant vertigo for years, and like just weird inner ear, like labyrinthitis, kind of ear infections that no doctor could really explain. It was very, very odd. And then after doing, getting more deeply into meditation and things like that, that helped me quite a bit. And it was December 2019 where things really took a more intensive turn. I was kind of upset. I was very upset with a lot of things that were going on with work and different things in life, and I did something that I don't want to repeat because I don't want anyone else to try this, but a couple days later after I did that, I had 2 visitors in my room. I was awoken middle of the night. I opened my eyes, and I had these 2 reptilian beings standing at the end of my bed, and they asked me, they said, "We need your help. Can you help us?" And I was like, "What? Oh, maybe. What do you need my help with?" And it was so weird because I could not get an energy read off of them. I could not tell if they were good or bad or neutral. Like, there was nothing coming off of them. It was like dead air. It was so weird. And they asked me to help them take out 300,000 people in my local area. And they showed me these visuals, kind of like a movie projector screen in your third eye, in like the mind's eye. And they showed me these low vibrational people, mostly indigenous, like Native Americans, who were drug addicts, alcoholics, or had mental issues, gene deformities, people that were choosing a darker life, and they, were self-deprecating. They, had very, very negative mindsets. So many different images within, seconds was just projected into my mind, and I was like, no, no, these humans are special. Even no matter what they're doing right now, no matter who they are, what they've done, every human deserves another chance at life and at their soul mission. Like, how dare you get out of here, never come back. And they left, and it was so weird too. I could see them so well. All of their facial features, their skin tone was like this greeny yellow, and I could see all the scales on their skin, the indents in their face, the jawline, the like around their mouths was very, very pronounced. They're kind of like lizard noses, their eyes, the head shape. They were wearing these very tight-fitting navy blue uniforms, like officer uniforms with little bits of gold on the collar and kind of like some little emblems on like the pocket area. It was, it was very confusing, because I was like, are they good? Are they bad? Like, what did they mean by taking out? Like, I had so many other questions. And then a couple days later, one of them came back and asked me, I really want you to reconsider. And at that point, I got very angry because I was like, how dare you, blah, 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 blah. And I started swearing and kind of like shooting light beams out of my third eye. And it vanished like right away. And I could tell they were kind of scared of me. Like, I wasn't even scared of them because I had so many psychic attacks with way scarier things, and they didn't show any sign of love or fear in them. It was just this dead air space. It was so weird, and the next day I told some people close to me that what had happened, and they were just like, oh, that's really weird. That was it. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like, this is very strange. I've never had an interaction with, like, a conscious interaction with an extraterrestrial or like interdimensional being like that. Even spirits, I could only see like certain outlines and things, and they were much more clear when I was young. But at this point, I'm in my 30s, and this was just so mind-blowing, like how clear they were, and how like the conversation, the telepathic conversation that we had was so profound. And then it was about 3 weeks later, I was woken in the middle of the night again by these two Nordic beings. It was a female and a male. They were very bright, very high vibrational. I could see their heads basically, and their eyes were so bright and so incredible. I could see their blonde hair, and then they were just this like very blue, bright, goldeny white light. I couldn't see their bodies really, maybe a little bit of their neck and shoulders, but it was so much different. And they projected love, like pure love. It was so powerful. And they were like, oh my God, you have a lot of work to do. You need to do a lot of work on yourself. And I was like, okay, thanks, great. And they're like, we were helping you. We want to help you. And they gave me so many downloads that were just absolutely incredible. I was on some pretty heavy medication, some different kind of birth control that was causing a lot of side effects. I was having heart palpitations, extreme anxiety, very bad stomach pain. I was losing weight like crazy. I was not healthy. And they were like, and I was on antidepressants because of this birth control. And they said, get off of this medication. It's not serving your highest good. It's not good for you. And they also said to meditate as much as I can every day, have, a really regular practice in that, because that's going to help me develop my intuition, my psychic abilities, and help raise my vibration. And another big thing was that raising my vibration was very, very, very important. And they said to focus on me, but eventually they want me to help humanity, especially in my local area, to imagine raising the vibration of everywhere. And they showed me how to do this. So when I'm in meditation, I do my grounding, connecting to source energy, and then I imagine this white light emanating out of me, and it, goes throughout the room I'm in, and then out throughout my house, and throughout my property, and throughout my neighborhood, and my city, and my province, and my country, and all the states, and everything. It just expands and expands and expands, and it just raises everyone's vibration that it comes into contact with. And they showed this, they played it out to me visually, and we just had this incredible telepathic conversation. And, within a flash, they were just gone. And it was like, oh my God, did that happen? Am I crazy? I don't feel crazy. I feel pretty amazing, because that was one of the coolest experiences I've probably ever had in my life in this type of context. And, it was probably about 2 months, I was just racking my brain. Like, did this actually happen? Am I sane? Am I crazy? I was just really like, what the hell is going on with me? I didn't have too many experiences in that time, and it was about February, well, I guess the beginning of March, I got really, really sick, and that was when the coronavirus outbreaks started happening really intensely all over, and there's like the lockdowns that happened and all this intense stuff, and I had this extremely bad cold. It was like one of the worst colds I've had in a very, very long time. And at one point my lung like seized up, and I was also, and I couldn't breathe for like a couple minutes. It was so weird. I could only breathe out of like my one lung, but my right lung was like, it felt like someone was grabbing it and squeezing it. It was so weird. I've never had lung issues in my life, and that was terrifying. And then, when I was having these like very spacey moments, like I'd forget what I was doing. It was so bizarre. And then so I got tested for COVID, and it was negative. And it was interesting because I took like, I don't know, 10 vitamin C's the night before, because I was like, oh, I'm going to try vitamin C. And then my test came out negative, and I felt so much better that next day. So it was interesting. Another thing I forgot to mention too was in November, I guess it was, November 2019, even before the Reptilians came, I just got this weird egg aversion. Like, eggs just stunk. They smelled rotten, all of them, and it was just so weird. And I was asking my husband, like, oh, these eggs are rotten. And he was like, no, they're fine, there's nothing wrong with them. And so I had to stop eating eggs because they were so disgusting. It was around like April or May 2020 when I wasn't able to eat meat anymore. It was so weird, because prior to this, I loved bacon and chicken and steak and eggs and pork, pulled pork, like all of that. I loved it. I was definitely picky with certain things. Like, chicken wings were kind of weird for me to eat, especially anything with like a vein or a tendon in it. Ugh. I just like just the pure meat. And now when I think about eating meat, it's like along the same lines as like eating my dog or eating like my arm. It's so weird. My brain is not the same anymore. It's very, very, very strange. And that was one of the biggest physical things that I've noticed. And that is kind of like the oneness consciousness, is that we're all connected. We're all one. And majority of extraterrestrials are vegetarian or vegan, more so. They don't eat any animal products. There are some planets that do have contracts, like soul contracts, with certain types of animals, that they do eat them, but it is like a known contractual agreement, and the meat is eaten in a different way. It's praised, basically, and there's a lot of gratitude and thankfulness. Eating meat doesn't make you a bad person at all. Like, it's what's inside of you, what resonates with you, what goes deeply inside of your being. That's what's most important to follow. You don't have to not eat meat to ascend to 5D. You do you. You find out what's going to work for you, and if you're called to have more of a plant-based diet, do it. If you're not, don't worry about it. But that was just something that was like huge life-changing for me and very bizarre, as my body shifts and more of my DNA activates, because we are going from a double helix, like the 2-strand DNA, to a 12-strand. I watched a video recently where it was like most people are at 4 or 5 strands now. I feel like I'm at a 7 or 8 now or something, with my heightened psychic abilities, my intuition developing, my energetic reading ability, foresight abilities, and then now with just this whole like meat, egg aversion. I still eat dairy though, and I still eat some fish, mostly just like certain types of white fish and calamari, and oddly enough, I am allergic to shellfish. I have been my whole life. In March, I had that really intense sickness, and I was questioning a lot of stuff. I was following the mainstream media narrative of how horrible this virus was, and it was caused by a bat and all that bullshit, blah, 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 blah. Their fear-mongering. I totally was like sold into it. And then I ended up getting better from that, and then I ended up coming across Fall Cabal. And that changed everything. I highly recommend to go watch Fall Cabal, because that just put so much stuff in perspective. And for years, I knew our food was being poisoned, like with so many extreme amounts of chemicals that have been added into our food supply, as well as like how much sugar is in our food. What is it, 70 or 80% of the food in grocery stores is just like a mix of GMO corn, GMO wheat, sugar, and other flavorings, like chemical flavorings. Just look at the cereal aisle and read some of the labels, and it's pretty nasty what they put in our food. And anyway, so I knew that stuff for many, many years. And then also my husband was really into like 9/11 conspiracies. I never thought those things were true until I watched, the fake plane go through the building, and how poorly edited that plane was. I'd never watched like the slow motion view of the plane, the fake plane that was clearly like just an edited image into other footage. It's pretty shocking when you actually figure that out. So yeah, the Fall Cabal stuff was kind of right up our alley, and it just made things click so well, and it was like, holy smokes. And then we just ended up going through so many rabbit holes and so many things, and there's a greatawakeningreport.com, which was huge too. All of the Great Awakening maps, the health web, the deep state maps. It's just, it's never ending. And I found amazing speakers and documentary people, advocates for full disclosure, like Dr. Stephen Greer, Corey Good, Emery Smith, David Wilcock, and Elizabeth April. Those are like some of my top kind of people that I watched. I just like could not get enough of this information because it resonated so deeply within me, and it made so much sense why I had so many problems with the Catholic Church and with like religion in general, because it's from about the time I was like 8 years old, I realized religion is there to control people through fear, money, and greed and power. That's what they do. And I could not figure it out for the longest time. Like, why are Catholic priests always going for little boys? Or, why is there so much pedophilia in religions? And not only do they use rape to create karmic trauma, so those souls have to keep like reliving that trauma, a lot of them, but also humans are so high vibrational, powerful, interdimensional beings, multidimensional beings. We give off this type of energy when we're in a fear state that's called loosh, Loosh. Look that up. It's very, very important to know this and to understand how to control your fear and love base, because and that's really directly connected into our nervous system and how we breathe and how we ground in. We can control that. So there's the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight mode. It's fear mode. And then, that's a defense mechanism. We need that. That's part of our reptilian brainstem. We all have reptilian DNA in us. And then we have our parasympathetic nervous system. That is our rest and digest, safety, love mode. So if you're ever feeling like you're in a fear state, do deep diaphragmatic breathing and ground yourself in, connect yourself to pure source energy, and get into that loving rest and digest mode. And then you won't be giving off that loosh energy and feeding those nefarious beings and ultimately the reptilians. So after going through all these rabbit holes, and I dove really deeply into my meditation practice, I ended up having lots of different types of entities come in. I had this really interesting, very curious, tall, gray, kind of motherly type being come in and was very curious, kind of standoffish, a little bit scared of me. And I would just say like, hi, I love you, how are you, connect with me. It seemed like she was just checking me out, like, okay, where is she at? And then I had this blue light entity being who seemed very familiar, like they knew who I was. I couldn't make out who they were because they were just like a million tiny itty bitty blue lights that made up kind of like a human form. And that being came twice, and it was like they're trying to interact with me, but I was like not there yet. So, and then my husband, I've seen him in his like blue avian form, which was just absolutely mind-blowing, amazing, super cool. I've had different kind of blue avians kind of come in. It was more so just like their head space, and they would just kind of look at me, kind of like check me out, see what I was doing. I had the golden triangle being come in and just like assess me and look at me and like send me good vibes, so many good loving vibes. The most incredible one that happened was this 12th dimensional Mantis being that I kind of get emotional when it happened, when I talk about my Mantis, because it was such an incredible thing that happened. So I was in a meditation, and then I just saw this, like with my human eyes, I saw this kind of neon outline of this huge Mantis being, probably like 7 feet tall or something. Like, and it was kind of like floating too. So I just saw like this neon outline of its eyes and its like face and its cute little mantis arms. And it told me telepathically, okay, go relax in your bed. I said, okay. And I went and lied down in my bed, and it floated over top of me. And with its little mantis arms, it just did surgery on my DNA. My whole body was vibrating so much. That like really cool ringing in your ears and like the high pitched noise, that was all throughout my whole body. It was like this incredible vibration. It was just mind-blowingly amazing. And that mantis came back the next night and did more work on my DNA. about 2 weeks later, I watched this video. I believe it's on this channel, this YouTube channel, Donut, and he has a really cool video on there about mantis beings and what they are doing, what they've been doing here. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I watched it and I cried because I was like, holy smokes, that just happened to me. So what they do is they have been coming to Earth for quite a few years, but like more so since 2015. They've been coming to do surgery on starseeds and like light workers to repair the trauma that they've had to endure in this fucked up third dimensional reality. And so they actually use Wi-Fi to travel. Mind blowing, right? Because, well, they're 12th dimensional mantis beings, like insectoids. So, and since 2015, there's been way more secure Wi-Fi networks more readily available throughout the whole world. And and what they used to do is like, it was kind of a gamble coming here through Wi-Fi because it wasn't always like set up properly, or it would cut in and out. So now it was like safer for them to come. And yeah, this has happened to millions of people all over the world. It's just absolutely amazing how incredible these mantis beings are. And they are master geneticists. They're very, very ancient, very incredible, high vibrational beings. And, you know, he had like a sense of humor. He was kind of goofy, and he was very joyful, very, very loving and accepting of me, and just so amazing. Another big message that I got from a lot of these ETs was to start a group in my local area, and so I run a CE5 group, and I also do some ascension counseling as well, just passing on the information that I've and the downloads that I've gotten from these different ETs. And then through our CE5 group, we've had a couple sightings of UFOs. The most incredible one was this triangle shape was in the sky, and it was like moving in a triangle formation. It was just, you know, there was about 13 or 14 of us, and we were all in complete awe, like, holy shit, we just made contact, real life, real time. That was phenomenal. And then I've had a lot of Bacterians come in to. They're beautiful, amazing, high vibrational beings. There's been this female one that comes quite often. I feel very connected to her. You know, every day, basically, I connect in with her and just say, like, thank you so much for being here and for guiding me. I'll get a ton of downloads. I can literally, like, feel my pineal gland just, like, juicing out. So much DMT. It's, like, phenomenal. Just so wild. And then I had an abduction experience about 2 months ago. I think, yeah, it was probably in July, maybe 3 months ago now. I think it was in July or so. It was so weird. Right before bed, my room was just full of little gray aliens, just filled with them. It was so strange. And the more strange thing was that they didn't say anything to me. They didn't interface with me. It was just so bizarre that they didn't do anything. And then in my dreams that night, I was in this cylindrical tube. It was kind of like a glass tube, and they would come up to the glass every once in a while, just completely emotionless, like nothing. It was like kind of a brick wall sort of emotionless feeling, trying to interface with these beings. They were definitely doing some sort of tests on me. I'm still not 100% sure what would happen. And then, you know, obviously I wanted to validate a lot of these experiences that had happened. So I did, my multiple forms of hypnotherapy, which were just amazing, and hard too, you know. This is challenging stuff to wrap your mind around, because you've never been told any of this stuff in your life, and you've been, you know, if you have experienced any of these types of things, you've been in denial of them, because this is not mainstream. This is not taught in school. This is not groupthink whatsoever. So, and I went through lots of different ego deaths, lots of different like dark nights of the soul where, parts of my brain, parts of my programming had to die off. A lot of like past trauma had to come up to the surface so I could deal with it and release it. That is fucking hard. It's hard as hell. And it's, I've cried so much. I've like gotten mad, like really mad, more mad than I have been in a long time. But now I feel so much love and joy and peace because I've been able to actually like release so much of that and get so many deep, amazing answers from those hypnotherapy sessions. Because of the reptilian experience that really kicked this whole thing off, I actually booked in with a reptilian attachment specialist. Her name's Sharma. She's out of the UK. She's phenomenal. It takes a long time to get into her, but it's so worth it. She told me those reptilians were negative entities, and they were, if I would have agreed to them, they basically would have just done some mind control stuff with either technology or an entity like a reptilian would have just latched onto me and just used me as a vessel basically, and would have done some really dark fucked up things. So that was kind of like a test. That was like part of my soul contracts, was to go through that test, and I passed it. Yeah. And yeah, it was just crazy. Another thing that I had done, which was probably one of my favorite things ever, was my Akashic records being read. And this is a soul alignment reading. It was so phenomenal. It's I found this one lady, awakened.com. Her name's Kayla. She's somewhere in like remote Saskatchewan, Canada. She's so good at this. Really, really cool. I learned, so many things about my starseed origins, my soul contracts, my soul mission, my spiritual and energetic gifts. It was just so good. And then I saw a psychic as well, just to get like some other little things cleared up that I was like kind of these burning questions. So yeah, all around it's been just so wild. Like what a roller coaster, hey? Because a year ago I would not have believed hardly any of this stuff, and now I'm a completely different person in so many ways. But I'm more of the person that I came here to be, the person I incarnated here, like to be here, and also to being able to help other humans on their fifth dimensional journey as well. So if I can give any advice for you, if you have some unexplained things, get some hypnotherapy done. Invest in yourself. Invest in you. Work on yourself, because it's really hard to help other people if you haven't done the work first on yourself. Get a meditation practice going that is consistent. If you can, like twice a day is ideal. Once in the morning, and it doesn't have to be for long. It can be for 5 minutes, it can be for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then if you can do kind of a longer session in the evening, 20 minutes, half hour. If you want to do a couple hours, like go hard. It's whatever's going to suit you, and really connecting into like the center sun, into source energy, grounding yourself into this reality will help you become protected against dark entities, because they don't have that God spark that we do, that connection to source energy, and they can't connect into center sun like we can either. So that is a really, really important protective method that you can use to raise your vibration and ward off things that you don't want hanging around. Yeah, so if you have any questions about these things, if you're having abductions or ET experiences yourself, post them in the comments. I want to hear about yours, and seeing, hearing what other people are experiencing, because there are so many extraterrestrials coming to this planet because we're just a huge genetic experiment. We have, 22 more or less genetic programs of extraterrestrial beings. Only about 10% of our DNA is like Homo sapien DNA. 90% of it is extraterrestrial. So we are kind of like the children of the universe. Every extraterrestrial's been through these dimensional changes, and they've had other beings help them, and now it's come full circle, and they're here helping us. And this is a really important one, not only because of the humans, but also our planet Gaia has consciousness too, and she's chosen to save, to keep like the high vibrational loving humans on her while she's going through this transition from 3D to 5D. So give some love and thanks to our mother Gaia. She is doing so much work. She has so much on her plate, and she's so phenomenal. Also, call in your spirit guides, call in your angels, and help them, or tell them like, hey, I put you into action. I want you to do some protection on me. I want you to do some clearing on me. I want you to give me light codes, downloads, help me through this transitional phase. You have so much power, and you are a co-creator of your universe, and step into that power. Also, I want to leave you with something that's very, very, very important, because our planet has been known as the slave planet, which is coming to an end now. It's very important that every human claims their sovereignty. So I want you to repeat this. I claim my sovereignty now. I am free. I claim my sovereignty now. I am free. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I will see you on the next one. Mass Human Awakening.